Today, we are going to discuss performance and growth of some major services in the Indian economy. Now, services sector contributes to the growth of economy, growth of exports, and job creation. Increased productivity and competitiveness of the champion services sectors will further boost exports of various services from India. So with the boost of exports, we can get huge amount of foreign exchange reserve, so we can manage our balance of payments. Now, embedded services are a substantial part of goods as well. So when there is increase in services, there will be also upgradation in manufacturing, that is the secondary sector, and also the primary, that is the agricultural sector. So services are generating not only employment for its own, but also helping or working as complementary or supplementary for the other sectors, that is manufacturing and the agricultural sector. So the competitiveness of the services sector also increasing the competitiveness of the other sectors as well. Now, government has identified some champion service sectors. Those are information technology and information technology enabled services, known as IT and ITES. Thereafter, the tourism and hospitality services, medical value travel, transport and logistics, accounting services, audiovisual services, legal services, communication services, construction and other related engineering services, environmental services, financial services, educational services. Now to start with IT and IT enabled services. So software services are there, data processing, consultancy services, then database services, other computer services. And amongst all these branches, there are several other sub-sectors. So there is plenty opportunity, ample opportunities for getting into all these services, having jobs in these particular services. Now the core competencies required in ITES and this IT and ITES sectors. The first is technical capability, thereafter social and communication skills, analytical skill, problem solving, innovative thinking and resilience. So for building all these core competencies, there must be proper skill building, educational background. So with proper skill and education, all these services can be properly managed. Now, the changing economic and business conditions with rapid technological innovation, the proliferation of the inherent and globalization are creating an increasingly competitive environment. The role of technology has evolved from supporting corporations and transforming them. So now the corporations are trying to get people with skill, perfect knowledge and with technological know-how. And services sector providing all these skills to the corporations. Now we can have one example of our country. The state of Gujarat unveiled its IT and ITES policy 2022-27, replacing the old IT and ITES policy and now boosting the capital expenditure on IT and ITES services. Now we will move to hotel and tourism related services. There are also several branches of hotel and tourism related services. Accommodation, food and lodging, thereafter travel and travel arrangements, tour operators, and thereafter recreational services. Amongst all these branches, there are again several subsectors. And due to our heritage, due to our rich culture, we have the opportunity to boost this sector and provide employment and also mitigate the regional disparity. Now, we will move to the healthcare services. There are some subsectors: human healthcare services, other human healthcare services, thereafter residential healthcare services, then embedded services, research and development services. So again, several subsectors are there in healthcare services. Not only medical services, paramedical services, nursing services, then laboratory services, all these services are necessary for the economy. And there is also upsurge in the demand for all these services. As we are educating, we are having income, we are also aware about our healthcare. So there is upsurge in this services industry. Healthcare is one of the India's largest sector, both in terms of revenue and employment. Now, medical value travel. India has 18% share of the global medical tourism market. From neighborhood countries, people are coming to India for getting better healthcare with a particular price, reasonable price, and also with skill and also with knowledge of our medical service team. Now, we will move to the growth of this particular market. The rising income, the better health awareness, lifestyle diseases, and increasing access to insurance, these are the factors. Those are playing vital role for upsurge of this particular sector. Then we will move to the distribution services. The commission agent services, retailing services, franchising services, wholesale trade services, and other services are coming into the umbrella of distribution services. Now we will move to the accounting services. In accounting services, particularly there are two branches. One is accounting, auditing and bookkeeping services, and the other one is taxation services. So, there is also ample opportunity for the people with accounting knowledge, with basic skill of accounting and finance to get into this particular sector. And this sector is also helping the other subsectors. India is one of the leading economies engaged in exports of financial services. So we are also earning foreign exchange and we are getting the reserve of foreign exchange through the financial services. And non-financial services also increasing. Non-financial exports are also increasing, but the financial services sector is showing a growth trend. Now we will move to the entertainment services, including audio-visual services. And there are particular audio-visual services and entertainment services in this particular sector. So, with the growth of television, with the growth of OTT, that is over-the-top entertainment, then the entertainment through internet, all these are working together to increase the capacity of this particular sector. India's exports of audiovisual services are to the extent of $600 million annually. In 2019, it is 1.6% of the total market share. The media and entertainment ecosystem is a sunrise sector for the economy. And At the time of pandemic, we have seen that there were growth of all these services. And though the pandemic situation is a grim situation, but there is a positive hope for this particular sector, and people are engaged in this particular sector and having employment. Now we will move to the legal services. Legal advisory services, then legal documentation services, and legal advisory and information services are there. So, we are having a good number of people giving the legal services. India's legal services exports is to the tune of US dollar 800 million. So, India with its top intellectual lawyers has a relevant skill set to handle high value legal tasks. Thereafter, we will move to the communication services. Postal services, courier services, telecommunication services, and audiovisual services. These are the services coming under the umbrella of communication services. India is the world's second largest telecommunications market with 1.16 billion subscribers. It is attracting FDI, that is foreign direct investment. Thereafter, we will move to the advertising services. Full services advertising, direct marketing and direct mail services, sale of advertising space or time. India has one of the fastest growing advertising industries. With the growth of the audiovisual services, with the growth of the manufacturing sector, there is a particular need for advertising services. We are in need of specialized advertising and marketing services. Then we will move to financial services. Insurance and related services, banking and other financial services are under financial services. Then educational services. Primary education, secondary education, higher secondary education, vocational training, all are coming under the educational services. Then we will move to environmental services. Sewerage, drainage, remediation, water treatment, waste collection and other services incidental to environmental services. And again we have several subsectors under all these particular branches of environmental services. The IT spending is also increasing. The growth in 2022, we can see the data center by 5.5%, the software 9.8%, which is very optimistic for the sector and for the economy as a whole. Then we will move to the healthcare market in India. As 2021, the Indian healthcare sector is one of the India's largest employers, as it employs a total of 4.7 million people. A huge number of people engaged in the healthcare market. The hospitality industry in India accounting for 80% of the total healthcare market. Now, the medical tourism is also increasing in India. Ayushman Bharat centers are presently operational with the aim of providing primary health. The primary health market is somewhere unorganized. So, the government is trying to organize the primary health market. And the insurance companies are there and they are also contributing to increase the capability of the healthcare market. In 2020, demand pattern shifts as consumers' activity sought alternatives and had the time to try new things, added by a growth of digital infrastructure, digital media adopted, accelerated. The adoption behavior of new technology, people are shifting to new technologies, so there is huge demand for communication services, particularly telecommunication services. There is huge demand for data. There is huge demand for information transformation. And also, people are looking for entertainment, online entertainment. So, all these sectors will grow with the shift in demand pattern. So, there is a kind of paradigm shift in the pattern of demand. Now, the media and entertainment sector is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 13.7% to reach $30.6 billion by 2023, a huge amount for the growth of the sector. With the advent of technology, India is moving from 1G, thereafter 2G, 3G, 4G. Now we are ready for the 5G. Now there is huge FDI inflows in the telecommunication sector and contributing to 7% of total FDI inflow. So, foreign direct investment has now been allowed in the telecom sector. So, government policies are compatible with the growth of the sector and also recognizing the need for the sector, government is transforming the policies. Now, if we look the budget highlights of 2022, we can see spectrum auctions to be conducted for the rollout of 5G mobile services and contracts for laying optical fibers in all villages to be awarded under the Bharat Net project in the year 2022-2023. Now, the customers are also changing their demand pattern and shifting to e-commerce, and e-retailing is also a kind of booming services in Indian economy. According to Retailers Association of India, the retail industry achieved 93% of pre-COVID sales in February 2021. So, during the grim situation, during the pandemic situation, this particular sector is having a growth. Now, e-retail has been a boon during the pandemic. India has the third highest number of e-retail shoppers, only behind China and US. The new age logistics players are expected to deliver 2.5 billion direct to consumer shipments by 2030. Now, we will move to the space industry. The space industry is projected to register a compound annual growth rate of 5.6% over 2018 to 2026. The reason for India holding only a small share in the global space economy stems from the Indian space sector being primarily government control. Now, government is trying to engage private participation in this particular sector as well. In space, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center was created to regulate and promote private sector participation in space industries. As private players will come into the field, there will be more and more income generation and more employment generation with particular technological know-how in this sector. India has the fourth largest railway system in the world, behind only US, Russia and China. Now, Vision 2024 has been envisaged to achieve targets of 2024 empty freight loading by 2024. The railway sector of India aims to electrify the entire network by 2023. So government is trying to make the rudimentary base for increase the sector's productivity. In order to achieve its green mission, Indian Railways has solarized more than 1000 stations. So we are also moving to renewable energy with the help of our basic sectors. Now, 100 PM Gati Shakti cargo terminals for multimodal logistics to be developed during next 3 years. So these are the policies of the government for helping the sector, for supplement the sector's need. Now we will conclude, and the growth of the service sector depends on some basic features: demographic, social, economic and politicals. These are the factors generating employment, generating income in this particular sector. Now, we will discuss the demographic change. How this demographic change will affect the performance of the services. Increase life expectancy, and it is expanding the retired population. Retired population, that is the silver economy with grey hair and huge money with them. So they are spending in different services, particularly healthcare services, life insurance, then nursing services, and also the entertainment and tourism services. Now the economic changes. Globalization creates the demand for communication, travel and information services. So as we are integrating with the rest of the world, there is need for communication. So the communication services sector, also the financial services sector, financial exports, financial services exports are increasing due to change in economic pattern. Thereafter, the political and legal changes. The size of the government has grown and creating a huge infrastructure of service departments. With the growth of international trade and demand for legal and other professional services has increased, cutting across national boundaries. So we are moving from particular national periphery. We are going beyond. And for this particular political factor, there is need for different services from the side of the government, from the side of the people. So these services sectors are important to the economy, creating huge demand for skilled as well as unskilled labor, absorbing a whole bunch of labor, skilled and unskilled, by the need of the day.